Hey everyone, it's Nia Claire with the Light Up. I am so delighted to be here with you today. It is Thursday. I can't even believe it's April 27th, and we are just 3 days away from the April Light Up. So if you have not gotten your tickets yet, I really encourage you to do so. And if you do it before Saturday, you can get 50% off. I put the link and the code in the comments, so you can go ahead and do that. And I will, for some reason, there seems to be an issue with Facebook, so I'll post that in a little while for everyone as soon as we're done. So what I love to do is I love to introduce you to all of our practitioners, our vendors, the people that help make the Light Up special. Each and every month, we try to have a variety of people that you may know, you may not know, but it's a really great way to introduce everyone to new people who are doing amazing things, creating amazing things, healing, offering special services in a way that it invites community and inspiration. And I am excited to welcome back Cami Thelander. Hello, Cami. I'm glad you're with us today.
Hello, thanks for having me again.
Yes, and Cami is the owner of Barefoot Yogi, and she is an amazing healer. She's a Cranio-Sacral practitioner, as well as newly a grief coach. So I love that, because when we had first talked, this was something that you were really, really passionate about. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, you have been creating some amazing essential oil blends for a while now, right?
Yes. The essential oils were actually how I started with my business before I even knew craniosacral therapy was a thing. And before I even really knew that I was on a grief journey. So that was kind of where it all began. So they have a special place in my heart as far as plant-based healing and how it's helped me overcome a lot of my own struggles.
That's awesome. I did not know that's where you began, so that's very cool. I do know that when you and I first met, you were telling me about your essential oil blends, and I was like, oh, great. I love good smelling things. I'll just tell you, like, out of the gate, that's my favorite thing. I love things that smell amazing.
Yes.
And so I thought, oh yeah, good. Essential oil blends. I've done this rodeo before. No, they are outstanding. I love the blends that you have. And you have some fun ones too, I think. So
yes.
Tell us a little bit about you before we get into all of your products and what you do. I'd love for people to know what you do and kind of your journey, and tell us about Barefoot Yogi.
Sure. Yeah. So, like Nia mentioned, I do craniosacral therapy and grief coaching. Really, what I have found my role here to support people with is to help get grief and stress out of the body. So I studied biology in college. That's how I started learning about plants and how herbs can interact with our body and our nervous system, and kind of the support that we can find from these medicines from the earth. And just the physicalness, the humanness of being of the earth and being just another creature on this planet. So that kind of sparked my interest learning about food as medicine and herbalism and essential oils. So that's how I got into my healing journey first, was through food and plants and essential oils. My dad died when I was 11, so I was processing in college a lot of the grief around that, and was experiencing a lot of anxiety and depression. And I didn't know it was really because of this underlying, grief. But I started to turn to essential oils and supplementing with whole foods and vitamins and all that good stuff to really just boost my system up, before I found the energy work and all that stuff that really catapulted my healing. So that's kind of where I started playing around with all of those. And it was phenomenal. It gave me moments to tap into myself and connect with how I was feeling, and to get back into my body and to develop that personal self-awareness that I really needed to overcome the grief and the stress of being in college and all of those things. So that's kind of where I come from, kind of this embodied approach to stress and trauma and grief support, with essential oils being one of those tools.
I love that. I love that, we often find our pathway to being of support through our own journey. What brought us to this point, and then what was uncovered in that process.
Mhm.
So that can very much be a way of, I love the word embodiment,
Mhm.
embodying the healing you've experienced and then offer that as a share. And I agree. I think well, what do they say about memory and smell?
Mhm.
That,
Mhm.
and so much of grief is processing memory,
Yeah.
and smell being a part of that. I can imagine that there's a way to engage that olfactory system to be able to um, reconnect to a now experience versus a focus on past experience, you know?
Yeah, for sure. It brings a sense of comfort, I think.
Yeah.
And my blends are directed in a way that are used to shift something that you might be experiencing. So for me, it was anxiety. So
Yeah.
I started like, okay, well, how can I like use these plants to help shift out of the anxiety and the anticipatory grief that I was kind of stuck in this constant like fight or flight based on my grief experiences and all, like you said, all those past memories that were coming up for me was creating so much anxiety in my body.
Yeah.
So I knew I couldn't do that any longer. I started finding oils that would help just shift my nervous system into that calm, grounded state of being. And from there I could think more clearly and I could, you know, just figure out how to move forward with
Yeah.
my grief, not move on with my grief because
Right.
that doesn't happen, but to keep going with life without being stuck in that past. And the oils just helped me do that, helped me ground into that present moment and refocus again.
Well, I love that. And so I'm curious because I really genuinely am. So finding oils to navigate grief or anxiety is not necessarily like, oh, yes, of course, that's the next step, right? How did you discover that connection?
Well, like I said, I was in college studying biology. So I was just like, I was taking all sorts of classes where I was outside in the woods, like learning about plants and animals and ecosystems and just the ecology, and that we are a part of Earth and nature and all of these cycles. So for me, it was kind of a no brainer that I have all of these resources to me that like I was just nerding out about. I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna try some of these on, like, and I was playing with, taking supplements and
Yeah.
ingesting, whole plants and, superfoods and all of that stuff. But for me, it was the convenience of the oils. Like I can carry this with me at any time. I start to learn a little something about like lavender, like one of the most popular and basic oils that's so gentle. It's like, oh, well, I know like this can help me sleep at night. Let's just
Yeah.
start there. Some of the other struggles that come with stress and grief and trauma, that's just like the convenience of having oils in your pocket all the time was like, this is something I can bring to class with me. This is something I can stop and take 30 seconds to ground in with and to take that pause when I just need to just arrive for a moment. So that's really my goal, is to help encourage that with the people who buy these products, because that was life changing for me, developing that relationship with myself, being able to feel what was coming up for me and then reframe and move forward in a new way.
Yeah. As you're talking, I can feel your passion, but also that heart pull for
Mhm.
you in this work. It's very apparent as you're
Mhm.
talking about it, at least to me, I'll say it that way. So I want to acknowledge that. I love that you're doing that. And when you think about now you've moved into grief coaching and doing craniosacral and craniosacral, I will just say this for those of you who have not tried it and have done some body work, you are missing out. To me, craniosacral is maybe the most powerful of
Mhm.
all of the modalities I've tried when it comes to um, healing in the body.
Mhm.
There's something about that connection that and the practice of it that is so. I still remember my first session. I was in Boulder, Colorado, and I was going through massage school, and I had this session with this woman, and I walked out of there. I like everything. I walked out of the session and I'm walking through Boulder, which is already like maybe she slipped me something. I don't know. I don't think so, right? So I'm walking through Boulder and everything was brighter and more clear. And I felt more aligned and connected than any other time in my life. And it was such a powerful experience. So I mean, I'm going on and on, but so tell us a little bit about that work that you do and how do you use your oils with that? How have you integrated that?
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think craniosacral is like, if you're really trying to like speed up your healing and make some big shifts, like you said, like one session, you noticed a major change for you.
Yeah.
That's where the meat and potatoes is for me in my healing practice. The grief coaching kind of helps with some of the more cognitive, processing the words and the memories piece of it. But the oils and the body work really gets into the body. And of course, the issues are in the tissues. That's like the deepest rooted piece of us that's resonating or not resonating with, something that we want to shift, something that needs an alignment. So for me in my sessions, I like to use the blends as a tool for my clients to help maintain that alignment and connection even while they're, in between sessions, something that you can do in your own life to empower yourself to find that connection with yourself.
Yeah.
Because that's really what I believe is like, yeah, the plants are helpful. The craniosacral therapy is helpful, but you are your own healer. The power is within you, and it's a matter of tapping into that. And that's where you're going to figure out what works for you and figure out how to move forward and figure out your own solutions to things. Yeah. So these other modalities, the coaching, the body work, and the oils are just tools to help encourage that process and keep it moving forward so that you can just keep going deeper and deeper and deeper. But I've designed these blends to help with energetic imbalances that I've noticed in my clients. So like for me, when I had anxiety in college, I was in my head too much. So the energy for me was like, it was too flighty. It was too like in the clouds. I needed something heavier and denser to help pull me back into my body. Yeah. So the first blend that I ever created, which is now my Earthbound blend, is all about grounding and rooting. So it helps. It's got oils that are very evolutionarily old and have really super deep, strong roots like pine or cedar wood. Nice. And those help to bring all of that energy that's up here causing the anxiety to just, let's bring that out of the head and back into your feet, into the body. So there's a physiological shift that happens. And there's a cognitive intention. Each bottle has its own intention. And then there's that energy of the plant also. You think of those tall pine trees and that feeling you get being in the woods underneath the pine trees. Like to me, that's what soothed my anxiety. It was like, let me just take this little plant out of my pocket. It's like I'm carrying around a little piece of the woods where I felt safe and comfortable. And for me, that helped ease that. So each blend kind of has its own vibe or intention like that.
So cool. So cool. Tell us about your blends.
Yeah. So I've got,
I think everybody wants to know. We want to hear, because that's what they're going to come and get a chance to actually wake up their olfactory senses to.
Yes. Yeah. So like I said, that Earthbound blend is my first ever one that I created years ago. And it's shifted a little bit. I've refined it over the years to make it even better, because the chemistry, of course, of blending is its own thing. So I've got like a couple grounding blends, because to me, that seems like something that most people need support with, is how do we remain present and grounded with just the stress and chaos of life? So a lot of my blends do include things like pine and cedarwood that are very grounding. So that Earthbound blend is definitely my go-to for anxiety and grounding. I also have a blend. It's called F Off.
Which is my favorite, by the way. I thought when I saw that, I laughed out loud so hard, because I'm like, yes, who doesn't need this?
Yeah. This one was my own way of setting healthy boundaries. I really needed some help with like setting energetic boundaries with people in my life, with just energy in general. So it's protective, it's immune boosting, it's antibacterial, it's all of the things, but it's grounding also. So that's got pine and cedarwood in it also. So it comes in the form of a roller, with a bunch of, it's like a smudge stick in a bottle. It's so just herbal and spicy, things like cinnamon, peppermint, pine, rosemary. It's very bold. And then when you roll it on your skin, there's just an opportunity to set the intention to, be grounded and present in your own energy and to not take on other people's crap.
Yeah.
So
By the way,
as a body,
Cindy Guile from Collective Dimension said that one is so popular that they can hardly keep it on the shelf.
oh my
So
goodness.
for those of you who are paying attention and are thinking, what am I going to get? Well, we already know. You check that one off your shopping list for Sunday. I love it.
It has been the most popular. That one's one of the newer ones that I've created, and it's like, yeah, people need this. Like,
Yeah.
especially over COVID, it was like, because there's immune boosting properties in here too. So when you roll it on your skin, your body absorbs that through the bloodstream, and now all of those healing properties of these oils are going to every cell of your body.
Nice.
They're, it's shifting the way you think. It's going through that blood-brain barrier into your mind and helping your whole body make a shift. So that's kind of the intention with the F-off blend, some grounding in there too. And I make that into a spray. So this is a simplified version of the roller, but it's all about clearing the energy, clearing the space, cleansing. So this is something I spray in between my body work sessions because it just helps to clear, cleanse away anything that doesn't need to be there anymore. And it gets to be that simple. So I've got things like I've got a couple different sprays. I've got another different calming, grounding spray that's great for sleep that I'll be bringing. That's kind of a specialty one. I only have a handful of those. I don't often make those. I also have something called Nourish, which is a blend that's all about repairing the nervous system. So I have blends that, I've got the grounding blends, anxiety blends, but I've also got like this is your fill up your cup blend. These are oils, and I have a roller also of Nourish, and that is meant to repair your nervous system and your body from the damage that stress does. So as a craniosacotherapist and grief being a stressful experience, that fries our nerves, and we have to nourish our body and to heal from that. So these oils are nervines, especially blue chamomile. You'll see that this is blue. That's because the chamomile in there is meant to restore your nerves, balance your hormones, balance your emotions. So this one's, I've been soaking in this all winter. And it's just another way to just take in all of those oils in a different way rather than rolling that on your skin. Or I like that Nourish blend on the back of my neck. I like to put it right on my spine to go right into my nervous system and to help calm and just soothe you. So I've got a variety of different things that I offer because we all need a little bit of something depending on the circumstances.
Yeah.
But really, I think, going for whatever you're drawn towards, the plants and the oils will call you, and you'll feel an impulse, or you'll know that you like a certain scent over others. Yeah. So I think just going towards whatever you like and taking, don't think too hard about it. I think that's the key, is because you know what you need. Your body's going to immediately be drawn towards what you need. So just keeping an open mind without analyzing it, I think, is also important.
I think that's a really good way to put it. And I think sometimes, I don't know if you've noticed this, but I've noticed this, is that sometimes when I don't particularly like a scent, it actually means that I need it. Yeah. It's kind of like being so thirsty that you don't want water. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that makes sense. But it doesn't mean like it's repulsive. It just means like I'm not drawn to it, but it's exactly what I need. Which is funny to me. But somebody brought that up with me a few years ago. Like when you're really thirsty, sometimes you get to the point where water doesn't sound good, even though it's exactly what's going to solve the situation that that you're experiencing. I was like, wow, that is an interesting thing. So I was just curious if you've ever noticed that.
Yeah, I've heard that too. And I think that kind of goes into this, for me, my idea behind that is like, we get comfortable in our patterns. We get comfortable in old ways of being. Like, I'm thirsty. That's just how it's going to be. I don't even want that water. You know what I mean? It's like our body sometimes doesn't feel ready to make that shift, even though we know that there's something there for us. We just might not feel that impulse. So I think it's a fine line of trusting your gut intuition and trusting towards what you're going, like what you're naturally drawn towards, but then also being open-minded. Like, yeah, I mean, with essential oils, that's tough because you want to enjoy the scent, right? Like
Right.
if you're
Totally.
not
I don't want you to
enjoying
be repulsed by it, right? But
right.
I like the fact that you also offer sprays for that reason, because sometimes just having it in your space changes that. It's like, instead of it
Mhm.
being something that gets on your skin where, the heat of your body kind of causes it to be more potent,
Mhm.
having it in your space allows it to kind of be more diffusive.
Yeah.
And boy, I'm throwing out the thesaurus words today. Diffusive. I'm like, oh, look at me. I don't know. But you know what I'm saying? Like that it has that ability to have the impact and also not be overpowering. So
Mhm. Yeah, and there's ways to benefit from the oils even if you don't necessarily like the scent. Like there's a couple tricks in aromatherapy. I have coffee or cocoa essential oil
yeah,
that you can, especially with kids, this is great because oftentimes kids, it's really strong and kids are sensitive. So
yeah,
like, okay, your kid's got an upset stomach and you want to put peppermint on, but you need to dilute it and maybe they don't like the scent of peppermint. So
yeah.
you can put it in something like cocoa to cover up that. Now it smells like
What?
chocolate. And now they're like, "Oh, yeah, give me that essential oil. I wanna rub it all over my belly," and it's gonna help them and they feel better, but it just kind of helps to yeah, to cover up some of the pieces that you might not like about it.
Wow. I think you're going to have to capture this knowledge, Cami, and share it. And I love it. Cindy says yes, and not a smoke, as we don't have the ability to use smoke or incense in some places. Sprays are a great
Mhm.
alternative. Yeah. So,
Yeah, yes, I use this in my office because otherwise I'd be burning, sage or Palo Santo, but it's like that's not available all the
right,
time.
right.
So I think the spray is a great way with infused with that intention. It's really about the intention to clear the energy of the space
Yeah.
too.
I
So
love
yeah.
that. I love that. And I think it's also a nice balance for, some people are not wanting to use practices that aren't their culture either. So this is
Yeah.
another opportunity for that to do something that is more neutral, or
Mhm.
less in that, not crossing cultural boundaries, which I think
Yeah.
is important. So I am excited about this. I love your work. I love who you are. First of all, Cami, ever since I first met you, you and I had a wonderful conversation. You have
Mhm.
just this really bright energy. And everyone I know who's had the opportunity to work with you, and I'm sharing this with everybody because I hear it comes back, and it's powerful when you hear about somebody's impact on them.
Mhm.
And I've heard that about you from several people. And I love that. And so I love that you're getting a chance to get your sprays out there and share this with the world, as well as bring a more holistic approach to stress and grief. And how do we bring ourselves back to what sounds to me like harmony in our bodies,
Mhm. Mhm.
instead of carrying around these weights and this heaviness. So amazing. Cindy has a question for you. What spray that you have would you suggest for a car of cranky kiddos? She and I both have probably the same question. Both have this on occasion.
Cranky kiddos. Um, yeah. So I only make a couple sprays. I do custom orders
Yeah.
too. My
Ooh.
problem is
Maybe we got to get cranky kids. Is
yeah, a cranky kid spray. I'm gonna put that one on my list.
right?
I'll have
Right,
to do
that
a
will
little
fly off the
research on
shelves
that.
too, just so you know. And Cindy and I will just get a cut for the creative side.
Yes.
I love it. Yeah,
Yeah, I
telling
think it depends on what your kids like too. I
that's
mean,
true.
F off might not be super appropriate to be spraying around your kids. Um, but I think even just like a little lavender goes a long way. So something as simple as that can do the trick.
Yes, yes. And Cindy says she's all about this. You create it, she needs a palette of it, and so do I. So
Right.
yeah,
I'm on
I'm telling you, moms are it. Moms and pet owners, you're
it.
set. You're set, because we're constantly dealing with the ups and downs, and how do we navigate that? So I love it.
Yes.
So, oh, Cami, I love it. So you've got a couple of workshops coming up, things that you're doing. Do you want to share? And you'll have more information at the light up as well, so that people
Yes.
can have it. But you have a workshop coming up at Collective Dimensions. Speaking of Collective Dimensions,
Yes.
which we love. So what's
Yeah,
going
so on Sunday, May 7th, that's a week from Sunday,
Yes.
I will be hosting a grief ceremony. So this is just going to be a super cozy, safe space. Essential oils will be included, actually. I have a special grief blend. There are these small bottles made with a specific essential oil called helichrysum. It's super wound healing. So this is like super, super cozy, great for healing the heart and those deep wounds that grief can leave us with a gaping open heart. Anyway, so this grief ceremony will work in the healing powers of essential oils and the intention that you can infuse into this blend to honor your loved one in your grief and whatever you want to remember. So this is kind of a remembrance ceremony and a safe space to express emotions and learn mindfulness tools to help you tap into those answers that you have within yourself, that grounding and that peace that are there underneath all of the grief. So we'll just be learning those tools as a group, and then you'll get to take home a grief blend also. So that's happening at Collective Dimensions.
That sounds pretty amazing, everyone. So, she's going to come check out her stuff, and then come a week later. I mean, like 2 weeks of Cami, really? That's not bad. That's not bad. I love it.
And then if you want more of me, I've got a whole day, a retreat on May 21st. It's called Inner Peace Day Retreat. So it's a day of healing the heart chakra. And I'll be bringing more essential oils to that also. You'll be able to make your own blend that's suited for you. You get to pick it out and blend it yourself with my guidance on some of the chemistry and what the oils are good for. But we'll be doing all sorts of other healing things that day. If you're interested in things like yin yoga, I'll be doing Cranio-Sacral therapy there also, and a heart chakra healing workshop. So all sorts of fun stuff that'll be on May 21st. So I'll have more information on that too at the light up.
And what's your website? It's www.barefootyogi.com. Bear like the animal. That's all about staying grounded and connected. Yogi.com, everyone. So you can get information. Violet says, I always recommend the grief roller to people in the store. They really seem to love it and its intentions. And I am delighted to chat with you, Cami. I love your energy. I love what you're creating in the world. We all need more of it. Grief is not easy. It's not something that we readily welcome in our lives, and yet it is such a natural, beautiful stretch for our hearts to find out exactly how much we are capable of loving and how much work it really is to be tender. It's hard work. So I love that you're doing this work. I love that you are helping to bring the mind, body, spirit into alignment through your work. So yay. You guys, thank you so much for joining us. I want to remind you that the Light Up event is this Sunday, April 30th. We go live at 3:00. From 3 to 4, we have our vendors and our practitioners who are offering their services. You can buy products. And then after that, we have our guest speaker and myself. We are doing channeling and conversations. And it's a great way to deepen your connection with spirit. And what's very interesting, I love this about this event, is that everyone who's saying yes to it, as soon as you say yes to it, the event changes. Every single person who comes into this, it's like a painting where everybody is bringing their own color to it. And we create something that will never be the same again. And the messages, the energy, the focus, the connections that occur are powerful. And if that sounds like something you want to be a part of, please say yes. We welcome you. Information and links are in comments. And if you have any questions, of course, you can message me. So I love it. Cami, thanks for joining us today. Thank you, everyone. And we'll see you Sunday. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.